Good morning.
Good morning.
Today is Friday, February 21st, 2020. And we find ourselves at beautiful Kapawi Lodge. Do you remember the river?
The river is called the Pastanza. The Pastanza River got us here, but this is called the Ishitingo River.
It's just filled with rivers and tributaries and streams and lakes and birds and oh my goodness, it's amazing. So, yesterday we woke up in the little bitty village of Tinkus, which, well, outside of that, probably half a mile-ish. And we loaded up. It was very primitive where we were. We enjoyed it. It was wonderful. And then walked through, but we were very much in the interior and kind of in the mud, and which was fine. A little bit warmer, more bugs, but here there's more bird life. There's a lot more wildlife as well, which was cool. We went down, said goodbye to the people we met there, and got on a boat.
Siempre es así. Uno.
Yeah, one each side.
Okay.
One each side, please.
That goes from Tinkius to the Peruvian border. So we took one river down, got onto a main, really wide tributary that is a direct feeder into the Amazon itself. And what were you going to say?
It's called the Bobanaza River. That's what we were going.
We went down the Bobanaza, and then we, because of sandbars and changes, it's kind of interesting. This used to be a disputed area, and Peru and Ecuador fought over this quite a bit, it sounds like. So we saw one abandoned Peru or Ecuadorian military base, but we actually had to go into Peru for a little ways, and we stopped at the military outpost, the Frontera, and which was cool, although they gave our boat driver a hassle because he came up and picked us up. He came up the night before. He went there, nobody was around, so he just sort of blew through the checkpoint, and the guy was a little frustrated that he didn't find somebody to check in. Anyway, so we came back, went down and around, and then into Peru for maybe a mile at the most. And then we came back up the river, checked in with the Chilean station, or Ecuadorian station, and then we did another few hours, about 2.5 hours up the river. So about a 4.5, 5 hour journey yesterday. We saw toucan and a fair number of birds. It's a nice way to travel. And we got here to the Kapawi Lodge, and Danielle, our guide here, is actually the founder of this lodge way back when.
In 1993.
There was originally, he helped set this up for a corporation that had a big deal out of the Galapagos, with the intention that it would go for 15 years and then they would give it back to the Achuarian people. And now, so this is completely owned by the locals and operated by them, and all the revenue goes to them to decide how they choose to use it. So that's been pretty cool. So we came in, and it went from where we were, which was wonderful, to this feels almost like the Ritz, and I'll do a little tour here after this. It doesn't have hot water, but it doesn't really matter. It has light, it has nice mattresses, we have our own cabin. The meal we had was amazing. The lodge is spectacular. Beautiful views, and just very nice. So then we, yesterday we went and did a hike to what the Achuarian folks call the Grand Trees. And we're not making that up. That's real.
It's real.
Those are just, that's not somebody like playing around. That's some gigantic bird that we have never seen before. But the Achuarian people look at these massive trees, which this tree had roots that were 8 feet tall that came out of this. I know them as the ceiba tree. Do you remember the other name?
Menta.
The menta is the Achuarian word, and then
I can't. Kemba. Something with a K.
Kembo or something like that. Kempo.
Kempo.
is the English word. But just stunning, massive. I mean, this tree had to have been 30 feet in diameter. And if you take the roots into account, the root structure above ground, 6 feet to nothing goes for 50 feet in each direction after. It's just amazing. And the Achuarians look at those as their grandparents or their great-grandparents, sort of as elders and keepers of knowledge, and that's interesting. So we did that, and then we had a lovely dinner, went to bed fairly early. I got called by one of our friends, a very desperate call. Come, Chris, I need you help. So we ran over. I thought maybe somebody had been hurt or was something dramatic, so I went from no clothes to wearing my underwear backwards and shorts on. There were cockroaches about this big in the room, and they needed backup for battling them. We were able to get them down, which was fun. And then this morning we got up early, not early, but fairly early. We were up about 5 and watching just listening to the place wake up. You can hear all the wings of the birds and all the different songs and noises. It's just stunning. But we went on a boat tour this morning with a local guide, and we saw caiman here in the pond that's connected to the water. Then we saw monkeys, and Rika was the first one to see one of the
pink dolphins.
The local, they're a freshwater dolphin, bigger,
it's been adapted.
Forehead for bigger sonar, and the water here is very filled with sediment, so it's clean, but it looks dirty.
But the
can't see very well.
Yeah, eyesight's not very good. It doesn't need to be.
A bunch of birds, but the whole place was just like a foggy mist. And then as the sun came up, it started to burn that fog off. So we are taking a little bit of a break now. Had an amazing breakfast, came back, great breakfast, and now we are getting caught up on a couple things, and then we're going to go for another hike here in about an hour. I went on a hike yesterday in my flip-flops and shorts, which I was highly advised against. They said don't do that. And I discovered what biting ants feel like. So I'm down with making sure I wear my boots going forward. Not the brightest bulb on the tree. Sometimes I got to learn that
Chris
myself.
has to learn the hard way.
Sometimes.
That's just the way he does it. And that's fine. But no complaining, that's for sure. You can keep it to yourself and figure out how to make it better.
There was no complaining.
No, there was no complaining. It was good.
Part of the experience.
I would say the biggest thing yesterday was the boat ride was beautiful. The breeze was just heavenly. When you close your eyes, you could feel the breeze playing along your face. I don't know. It felt so good, and it was peaceful and so green and lush. This place is so green, and then you see these odd color, like bright red. Bright. I mean, the color when there's a bit of color like that, it really pops out. And that tree that we saw yesterday, the saber tree, we got to touch it, and it felt like it was pulsing. I'm sure it was me pulsing, but I could feel it pulsing too. So they say that the tree, the waterfalls, big stones. You know, I think of Australia and what is it? Ayers Rock. These are significant to the Achua people. These are very powerful sources of energy, and they were telling us so lots of energy, lots of this is where you can get your vision, or if you have something that's you're wondering about, you can you take some ayahuasca and you do a ceremony that helps to reveal what is possibly the next thing you're going to do.
So one of the places we stopped on the river was we stopped at a shaman's house to make sure we confirmed our date. Apparently tomorrow we're going to go back down river a ways, and we'll meet up with the shaman, pick him up, and we're going to go to a waterfall. And then we'll take a hike from the waterfall to his house, and we're going to spend the night there and do this local ceremony. It's a medicinal plant called ayahuasca that apparently helps you have visions and helps you as long as you're open and receptive to seeing things. So I don't know, but it seems like it'll be a fun experience, so we'll give it a try. We have somebody who's a medical person in our group, and she's told us all about the ins and outs of what it does medically and how it's probably not that not that dangerous. So, but we've heard a lot of very positive things where it's helped people look at things differently. The Achuar people look at it as a way that it expands your thinking at it and puts you in touch with Arutam,
which is God.
Arutam, which is not really God. It's kind of nature. It's kind of God.
Nature.
It's kind of so the Achuari look at all living things as the nature as kind of that is the presence of God or God itself.
The connection to God.
And that this increases your connection with Arutam, and this can help you solve challenges or help you have clear visions and directions and things like that. So our guide has really encouraged us, if we choose to, if we want to, we don't have to, but the more you can go in with clear intention and clear expectations of what you're looking to get out of it, or what is the intention you have and the willingness to be open to whatever it may come, because apparently for some people it can be kind of scary. There's all sorts of, I don't know, it sounds kind of like acid. I've never done acid, but from what I've heard, or it sounds like it's a hallucinogen of sorts, and it makes for an interesting evening. And that's not really my thing. Never done those. But c'est la vie when in Rome. Oh my God, I just said French and when in Rome. Oh well. So that's where we are today. Oh, big butterflies like this big that are just the most brilliant possible blue purples you can see, and green that looked like lime green butterflies yesterday, and birds. This place is amazing. But one other little thing that I didn't realize was that the soils here are the second worst than the Sahara, only to the Sahara. The soils here are terrible, but it's because of a fungus that grows, and the water and the cycle of life is so very fast that everything is always eating itself, but there's almost no topsoil. It's all surface based, which is trippy, I wouldn't have guessed, versus like at home in Nebraska we've got 8 feet of topsoil. And it's actually, there's a lot more animals back at home than there are here. There's just a much greater diversity here than there is there. So anyway, well, we will check in with you again later. We'll give you a little tour now of the hut.
Okay.
So here we are in Kapawi Lodge in Ecuador, in the Amazon. And these are the individual huts where everybody is staying. Russ and Camila are there, I believe. Here's ours. That's a traditional roof. Oh, those are the noisy bastards that were on the roof. Hey, Rika, those things that look like black turkeys are up there. And our friends Rick and Denise are over here. Denise is deathly afraid of large cockroaches. It's kind of sporting, fun. And give you a quick little tour. Yes, it's a very hard life for us here. You can see Rika is again having a hard time as she hangs out in her hammock, hamaca. And something that's funny, these are newer, so these have like the Scooby-Doo scary sounding. So those are the doors. But this is our Mac Daddy little house. So we went from the platforms to the fancy house. This whole room has been made into a mosquito net safe room, which again, we had our friend last night who found out that it also means the bugs stay in, so you can have extras. And it's nice because they have filtered water, so they keep bringing us water. We have electricity, which seems really silly but fancy. Mirror, and then here is the baño, the bathroom. Paper goes in the bin, but we have I did all of our laundry there yesterday. Worked out really well. And nice little sink or shower. It's only cold water, but it's actually been very, very pleasant. So that is our hut, and we'll give a tour of the lodge later, but this is our view out of here, and the sounds are just amazing.